Hello everyone. In the continuation of our linear regression model, we are back with logistic regression model. In this video, first we will understand what is logistic regression and then build a logistic regression model from scratch like importing data, cleaning it, feature selection and lastly build a model and explaining all the terms related to it. Before we start, here are a few details about DataMonk. In DataMonk, we help students to prepare for interview and also provide study material on SQL, Python, and machine learning. So let us start with logistic regression. First of all, what do you mean by logistic regression? It is a statistical model that, in its basic form, uses a logistic function to model a binary dependent variable. Although many more complex types exist in logistic regression, but we will look into binary type only. Like in linear regression, which can only be used in continuous variable, our logistic regression can only be used in categorical variable. Let's take some example for this. Like, if you have to predict whether email is spam or not, or tumor is malignant or not. So in both the cases, we can use our logistic regression to predict whether it is or not. We just have to give the value of 1 or 0 in both the cases. As you can see in the figure, it can only give us two values, 0 or 1, while linear regression gave us continuous values. In linear regression, our model was based on equation of straight line, which was y equal to mx plus c. But in logistic regression, our model is based on sigmoid function, in which we can put any value of x, but we will only get 0 or 1 as our output. Now let us see what do you mean by sigmoid function. Our sigmoid function look like this, which is sx equal to 1 by 1 plus e to the power of minus x, where e is our Euler number. But main question arises, why is it a type of regression model? As you have already seen in linear regression, we have to find the value of m and c so that it covers most of our data points. So in sigmoid function, we can also write the equation in the form of line, which can be written as sx equal to 1 by 1 plus e to the power of minus mx plus c. Now, our output in sigmoid function only depend on value of m and c. Now, we have looked into what is logistic regression. So now we will build a model and explain in detail about logistic regression and variables that is used in building the model. So, our problem statement is to create a predictive model which can tell whether a given person will survive a Titanic crash or not. Our target variable is survival and predictors are age, gender, travel class, fare and etc. So our first step will be to explore the data. And to explore the data, first we have to import the data into our Jupyter notebook. So we have imported the data as Titanic survival data and then remove the duplicate rows if any in our dataset. Then printed the head of the data. So this is how our data look like. We have passenger ID, survival, P class, name, sex, age, and many more variables. So we will look into our data set shape, which tell us about that we have 891 rows and 12 variable columns. Then after seeing the shape, we have used infer function to see that if our data has missing values in particular column or not. And if there is a missing value, which is 30% of the total rows in our data set, then we will remove that column permanently. So as you can see in this data, in cabin, it is only 204, while our total number of data are 891. So we will remove the column cabin with passenger ID, name and other qualitative columns. So now as you can see, we have removed our passenger ID, name, ticket and cabin, which are either of qualitative type or have missing value around 30% of total rows. So now this is how our dataset look like, which have only survived class, which is our target variable and our predictors. After that, we have used the describe function to see the statistical distribution of the data. And that's how our statistical column look like. Then after that, we have seen the total distribution of our target variable. And if target variable distribution is too skewed, like only our data has only 0 or only 1, then our predicting model is not possible. But in this case, we have a bell curve distribution which is desirable. It can be positive skew or negative skew, but we can predict our model from this dataset. Then after seeing the distribution of our target variable, we have used n unique function which tell us the unique value for each column. And by this function, we can tell which is continuous variable or which is categorical variable. So as you can see, our age and fare, they can be considered as continuous variable, while our survived, P class 6, Parch and embarked, they can be considered as our categorical variables. After that, we have visualized the distribution of all the categorical predictor variables using the bar plot. So as you can see, they all are our categorical predictors, which are P class 6 and all that. And this is their distributions. And all values are normally skewed dataset. Like this is somewhat positive skewed, and this is also positive skewed. This is negative skewed, and this is their desirable bell curve. So they all can be used as predictors in our model. So after that, we have visualized the distribution of all the numerical predictor variable using the histograms. So we have two variables which are continuous, that are age and fare, and this is our age distribution, and this is our fare distribution. And after visualizing the individual variables, we can visualize the relationship between the variables. If our variable is continuous versus continuous, then we can use our scatter plot. If it is categorical versus continuous, then we have two options, bar plot or box plot. But if it is only categorical versus categorical, then we can only use bar plot. And this is our statistical measurement of relationship between variables, and they all are tests which tell us the relationship between the variables. In this dataset, we will use ANOVA test and chi-square test, as we have to find the relationship between categorical versus continuous and categorical versus categorical. So now we will explore the relationship between categorical versus continuous. So our categorical variable is survived and our continuous variable is fare. So we can use the bar chart for this, but first we group by and keep categorical variable in our x-axis and the continuous variable in our y-axis. And now we will group the data with respect to the survived variable. And this is how our group data look like. In survived, we have only two variables which are 0 or 1. 0 means not survived and 1 means survived, and they are the distribution for each variables. And after grouping the data, we will plot the bar plot between the fare and the survived variable, and this is how our bar plot look like, in which we have survived in our x column and fare in our y column. And we can also use box plot to see the visualization between the survived and fare type. So now we will see the box plot between the fare and the survived class. So in box plot, we can see the outliers. So in our data, we have the outlier, which is very separated from the rest of the data. So we can treat it to improve the accuracy of our predictive model. So now we will see how to treat the outlier. For treating the outlier, first we will see how many outliers are there. So from this statement, we will see there are three outliers. So we have two options to treat the outlier. First is to delete the outlier record. And our second option is that we can change the value of the outlier to the normal distribution. We have distribution which is above 500. So we can assign it the fare of 300. After the assigning, our box plot will look like this. Now we have treated the outlier, which will give us more good accuracy in our predictive model. Then after treating the outlier and seeing the visualization, we will use statistical measurement for the feature selection. So for categorical and continuous variable, we will use ANOVA test. So for performing ANOVA test, first we will import the library F1way from the SciPy states. After importing the library, we have to group the categorical data. So in this statement, we have grouped the categorical data. Then we have to perform the ANOVA test. So for this test, we have performed the ANOVA test for fare and survived, and our p-value for this ANOVA test is 1.84 to the power minus 16, which is very less than 0.05. Therefore, we can conclude that they are correlated to each other. After performing the ANOVA test between categorical and continuous, We will see the relationship between categorical versus categorical in statistical measurement. So to see the relationship between them, we use chi-test. So before we find the statistical relationship between the both variable, we will use the visualization. So we have visualized the sex and the survived class. So first of all, we have used the cross tab to group the data in both the classes, and here it is how it look like. So after that, we have plot the bar plot between both the variables, and this is how our bar plot look like. Like in sex, we have two classes, female and male, and in survived also we have two classes, survived or not survived. After visualizing the relationship between both the categorical versus categorical, we will use statistical measurement between them. So we have written the function for performing the chi-square test of all the categorical variable p class, sex and embarked, and we got the value which is very low. So we can consider all this variable in our predictive model, and by chance if our value is greater than 0.05, then this means we have to accept the assumption h naught, which tells that there is no relation between the given variables. After visualizing and using statistical measurement to find the relationship between all the variables, we will pre-process the data for the machine learning models. So there are 5 steps to pre-process the data before using it in machine learning models. First is to treat the missing value. We treat the missing value using interpolate or replace with median or mode values. Then we have to treat the outliers, which we have done already. After treating the outliers, we have to convert ordinal categorical and nominal categorical to numeric columns. And after that, we can use data transformation if our data values are very large. For data transformation, we can use standardization, normalization, log, or square root of the values. By using this, we can reduce the time by a lot. So in this, first we will treat the missing values. But to treat the missing value, first we have to check how many missing value are there. So in each column, we have a lot missing values, which are 177. So to treat the missing value, either we can delete the missing value of the age or treat it with the interpolation. So first of all, we will see how the interpolation work. As you can see in the num column, we have the array of the integer data, and we have used the interpolation method linear, which tell us that we have to take the average of previous data and next data. So in this null value, we will take the average of 5 and 4, which come as 4.5. Then we will fill it by 4.5. Same as in this type, we will take the average of 130 and 10, which will come as 70. So we will fill it by 70. And if we have the character value in this, then we can't take the average. So we will use the forward fill or backward fill for this. So in forward fill, we will fill the data by next data. Like in this, we have null value and next is our female. So we will fill it by female. Or if we use backward fill, then we have to fill it by the male. So now you understand how the interpolation work. So we will treat the missing value in each column. So for age, we have used the method linear in the interpolation. And for categorical variable, we have used the forward fill for the embarked column. Then after treating it, we will check whether each column has zero missing value or not. So as you all can see, every column has zero missing values. So we are done with treating the missing value. Then after treating it, we have to convert the categorical data to numerical data. So to convert the categorical data, first we have to check whether it is ordinal data or nominal data. In ordinal data, we have to replace it by manually. So as you can see, we have replaced the male by 1 and female by 0 in our sex column. So that's how our data look like. Sex equal to 1 means it is male and sex equal to 0 means it is female. Then after converting ordinal variable to numeric variable, we will convert nominal variable to numeric variable. And to convert nominal variable, we use dummy variables. There is a simple function known as getDummy to convert the nominal data. So we have used the getDummy function, and now we have convert our embarked variable to our numeric variable. As you can see that we have created each column of embarked as C, Q and S, and how we have assigned the value in each column. So as you can see in our first row, we have embarked equal to S. So after converting it, we should have the embarked C equal to 0, embarked Q equal to 0, and embarked S equal to 1. And same as if we have embarked equal to C, then we should have 1, 0, and 0. So now our data is ready for building a logistic regression model. So to build any model, first we have to split the data into training and testing data. We don't use the full data for creating the model. Some data is randomly selected and kept aside for checking how good the model is. So that data that is kept aside is known as testing data, and the data which is used to build a model is known as training data. Typically, 70% of the data is used as training data and rest 30% is used as testing data. So first, we'll print all the column name for our reference. So here are all the column for our dataset. So in this model, we have taken our target variable as survived and predictor as all the columns in our dataset. Then after that, we have split the data in the ratio of 75% and 25%. So that 75% will be our training data and 25% will be our testing data. And random state is just the random order of picking the data from our dataset. In the random state, you can actually put any number, whatever you like. Then we will quickly check the shape of our training data and testing data. So as you can see in our training data, we have 668 rows, and in testing data, we have 223 rows and 9 give us the column number. And if there is no digit, it means by default that it is only one column. Then after splitting the data and checking the shape of the data, we will build our model. So for logistic regression, first we will import the library from the Skylern linear model. Then unlike in linear regression, we have no parameter, but in logistic regression, we have three parameters, which are C, penalty, and solver. So what does this C mean? C stands for extent of penalization. The more the value of C, the more the penalty will be given in the model. And for penalty, we can choose the value of L1 or L2, where L1 stand for rich and L2 stand for lesso. So you all are thinking what is rich or lesso? They were a crazy scientist or statistician. They invented an algorithm to find which penalty is important or not. Like take an example. We have an equation like y equal to m1x plus m2x plus m3x, where our m3 is equal to 0.00001. So we can ignore our m3 value, giving us only y equal to m1x plus m2x. Basically, C tells us how many data points you have to regularize. The more you allow the value of C, the more you are allowing the miscalculation or error or how many mistakes your model can have. Now for solver, it helps us to choose the value of M and C. It is basically the way to find the M and C. We have several different type of solver like Newton CG or LBFGS, LibLinear or SARG or Saga. So now you have understood the meaning of all the parameter. So now after assigning the value for all the parameter, we will fit the data in our model and then predict the value using the X test and put it in the prediction. So after that, we will import the matrix library from the Skylern and see the classification report and confusion matrix. And how do we measure the accuracy on our testing data? So after importing the library matrix from the Skylern, we will print the classification report and confusion matrix. This is our classification report and this is our confusion matrix. And how do we predict the accuracy of our model? The accuracy of the model is our F1 score. And we get F1 score by computing the harmonic mean between precision and recall, between this and this, so that we can get this. So now we will see what do you mean by precision, recall, and the confusion matrix. So we will understand the precision and recall with the help of the confusion matrix. Let us look into the confusion matrix in bigger picture. In confusion matrix, we get four values: true negative, true positive, false negative, and false positive. So what does this mean? So true negative is if our model has predicted 0 and actual value is also 0. So in our model we have predicted correct value of 108 times, and in true positive if our model has predicted 1 and the actual value is also 1. So that will means the true positive. So in this we have predicted correct value of 173 times. But what do you mean by false positive and false negative? So false negative is if we have predicted 0 but our actual value was 1. So that will be false negative. And in our model, we have predicted 22 times 0, but the actual value was 1. And in false positive, we have predicted 1, but our actual value is 0. So in this model, we have predicted 20 times the value of 1, but our actual value was 0. So now you understand what is true negative, true positive, false negative, and false positive. But what do you mean by precision and recall? So as you can see, in recall, we calculated for 0 and 1, and in precision, we also calculated for 0 and 1. But how does we calculate that? So recall of 0 means that how many times our model has predicted 0 as 0 divided by the total number of 0 in our actual data set. So we can calculate recall manually also. So it will be like true negative by true negative plus false positive, as we have to see the correct prediction by the total number of actual value of 0. So it will be like 108 by 128. So it will give us 0.84 for 0, and for recall of 1 it will be like 73 by 95, which will give us 0.77. So we got our recall. So now we will see what do you mean by precision. So precision for 0 means that our model has predicted 0 as 0 by the total number of prediction as 0. So it will be like 108 divided by 130 as the total of 108 and 22. And it will give us precision of 0.83. And for precision of 1, it will be like 73 divided by 93, as 73 plus 20 will give us 93, and the division of 73 divided by 93 will give us the value of 0.78, which will be our precision for 1. After calculating the precision of 0 and 1 and recall for 0 and 1, we will calculate the F1 score of 0 and 1. So how does we calculate the F1 score? F1 score is just the harmonic mean of precision and recall. So it will be like 2 into 0.83 into 0.84 divided by 0.83 plus 0.84, which will give us 0.84. And same for value of 1, which will be like 2 into 0.78 into 0.77 divided by 0.78 plus 0.77, which will give us 0.78. Then after calculating the F1 score of 0 and 1, we will calculate the average of 0.84 and 0.78, which will be our accuracy of our model. Therefore, we will get the accuracy as 0.81. Now, what do you mean by micro average and weighted average? We usually consider weighted average as our final accuracy. So micro average is just the proportion of this number, and weighted average is actually the weight of this number. Then after seeing the classification report and the confusion matrix, we will see our data set. Here is the predicted survived column, which we have predicted with the help of our model. And this was our actual data. And as our accuracy is 81%, therefore this means that we have predicted 81% correct. So that's all about the logistic regression. Hope you like the video. For more content, do like and share the video.